Welcome to Positively Las Vegas, a look at the good things happening around the valley. I'm Kalina Estrinos. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to share the latest stories that showcase the reasons why we love Las Vegas. That means the people, the businesses, and all the activities that make the valley a great place to live. We'll also share fun things to do in Las Vegas each week.
He is known as the frontman for one of the biggest rock bands in the world. As he prepares for the end of the road tour, he is taking a childhood hobby and putting it on display.
The 13 Action News anchor Kalina Estrinos now shows you where you can see Gene Simmons' artwork.
We wear more makeup and higher heels than you ever wore.
When you think of Gene Simmons, this might be the first thing that comes to mind. Full makeup, big shoes, and that signature move. But now, Gene Simmons is revealing a side of himself, another talent not as well known.
I've been doodling all my life. This is what
Art, a passion he rediscovered during the pandemic.
The sad times that we just survived and are still ongoing with the pandemic gave me a chance to be up in Canada with not a lot of people or media and give in to my, sort of private secret dreams, which is I've been doodling all my life.
Gene Simmons' artworks is set to take center stage at the Animazing Gallery. It's located at the Grand Canal Shops at the Venetian Resort Las Vegas. This is the first time he'll put his pieces on display.
It's really an expedition for me, a journey. I'm finding out about myself and not being afraid to make mistakes. Some of these are more Jackson Pollock impressionistic stuff, some are more pop culture stuff, and some are just let's see what happens.
Another journey he's about to embark on is the Kiss End of the Road Tour, which will close out a legacy that began in the 70s.
We are the hardest working band in show business, period. And that means also that we can't do what B.B. King and people like that did, which is not really sweat. It's not the physicality, it's music. We're physical in what we do. Quit when you're on top. Take that killer wave, and then once you get off, hold your dignity and self-respect. So we're going to quit while we're still here.
Even though his touring is coming to a close, his art venture is just starting.
Oh, I'm excited. Are you kidding?
And no matter what the future holds, he'll take it all on in true Gene Simmons style.
I take a look at every day as this might be the only day I'm ever going to be alive. Use it, play, have fun, enjoy life.
Kalina Estrinos, 13 Action News.
Yeah, he's definitely our generation, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, right. Flashbacks to being a kid in the late 70s.
On your notebook,
yeah,
right?
Totally,
Remember?
Absolutely, yeah. The Trapper Keepers with the Kiss stickers on them, for sure.
And I hear he lives here in the valley now, too, which is great.
That's one of the great things. You might run into Gene Simmons at the
never
local
know.
grocery store.
Oh, I love him. He's great.
In the meantime, if you want to catch his artwork, it will debut October 14th through the 16th. And for all you Kiss fans out there, he did confirm, this is interesting, that there will be a residency happening here in Las Vegas later on this year, but he could not reveal the exact location as of today. We'll see.
We're going to that together with our notebooks.
That would be fun,
From
right?
back in the day.
Relive, here we go.
Yeah, I want to rock and roll.
Early 80s, late 70s, that's it.
That's right. Well, Justin Bieber is coming back to Las Vegas. This time he says he's bringing some friends and staying the entire weekend. The pop star announcing on Twitter, Justin Bieber and Friends, the Las Vegas Weekender. The flyer says it will include 3 days and nights of performances and pool parties, with a lineup curated by Justin himself. It's set for October 7th through the 10th.
Welcome back to Positively Las Vegas. For more details on any of the stories you're watching today, just visit our website, ktv.com/positivelylv.
Well, a middle schooler in Reno says she just wanted to do the right thing by getting a COVID-19 vaccine.
In addition to being protected against the virus, she's also now walking away with a college scholarship. Reporter Chris Buckley shares her story.
13-year-old Kaylee wanted to get vaccinated before she went to STEM camp this summer.
We were going to be traveling in a couple weeks after the vaccine came out, and we were going to be flying and seeing tons of family, and we didn't want to have to worry about COVID at the same time. The first shot was pretty okay. I mean, it's a shot, it hurts, but the second one was pretty bad. I was out for about 24 hours, and then everything went back to normal.
What she didn't know is that she'd been automatically entered in the Vax Nevada Days program, a giveaway of cash, prizes, and scholarships for those who get the shot. So the initial phone call came as a bit of a shock.
Well, Mom was at the beach with me, and she was like, "What a weird spam call. Had your name and everything." So she talked to Dad, and they went to the website, and the morning I found out that it was a $20,000 scholarship. I had just woken up, I was in my PJs, my hair was all over the place, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go eat breakfast.
And while she doesn't know exactly what her college plans are right now, she knows that savings account will come in handy.
It feels good. It makes me feel comfortable about getting ready to go to college and my future.
That's cool. And she's encouraging others to get vaccinated.
Definitely get the vaccine because, like I said, it's free and it just takes so little time for such big of an effect.
The promotion runs until August 26th. That's when the big $1 million grand prize will be announced.
Chris Buckley reporting.
Well, under construction, Nellis is set to host a first-of-its-kind facility for the Air Force. In this week's Veterans Voice, Kalina Estrinos shows you how it works and why Nellis was selected.
Construction signs are up, equipment is out, and the project is underway.
This is the first time an Air Force military treatment facility is taking civilian critical care patients, so we're really excited about that.
This here is a site where a new emergency center will be built. An expansion of the Michael Callahan Military Medical Center, this 7,000 square foot development will have a medical lab and dental facility. It'll also double the current bed capacity from 50 to 100 beds for patients.
All the civilian patients we're taking are through the local EMS system, so any 911 call can come, but we're not taking walk-ins or folks that really don't need critical care.
Now, this will not only serve military personnel and veterans, but also the surrounding community of North Las Vegas in emergency situations. That's something Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Jeremy Kilburn, a critical care pulmonologist, is looking forward to.
Absolutely ecstatic about this, and every time we get, a new project done, like the ER, the lab, the dining facility, all this kind of stuff, the bed expansion, it's just one more step on the way to, or the vision we always saw, which is to have, this much larger hospital that could really provide the Air Force with, just a pool of talented medics to go down range or to support operations in the United States, but also, again, to take care of all these folks right around us.
He says access to emergency care is something this community needs. This facility will open in phases starting this October. By 2024, it should be fully functional and ready for its staff to offer life-saving treatment. I'm Kalina Estrinos, 13 Action News.
And we've been invited back in October to check on the progress. If you want to learn more about this story, just head to our website at ktnv.com. Veterans Voice is brought to you by Southern Nevada Ford Dealers.
How would you like to swim along with the real mermaid? Follow the tide to Wet n Wild, where Casey the mermaid and her friends flip their tails Saturdays at noon. Kids love interacting with the beautiful maidens, listening to stories, and swimming along the lazy river. And if you're ready to get off the couch, fantasy football draft parties are popping up at PT's taverns all across town. Book your draft party before the kickoff of the regular season. And Twin Peaks is draft party headquarters in Henderson, with made-from-scratch food, free Wi-Fi, and plenty of cold beer. Star Trek fans from across the world are beaming into the Rio Hotel Casino this weekend for the galaxy's largest annual Star Trek convention. William Shatner, Jerry Ryan, and George Takei are back. And for the first time, Kelsey Grammer will be making an appearance. For even more fun ideas, head to our website and look for 13 Things. Live long and prosper.
Welcome back to Positively Las Vegas. For more details on any of the stories you're watching today, just visit our website, ktnv.com/positivelylv. Looking for a place where you and your kids can let out some creative expression? Well, Pinspiration is hosting back-to-school cookie decorating workshop this weekend. Our Zora Asbury sat down with the owners of Whisk and Spoon and Pinspiration to learn how kids can decorate some sweet treats.
People were pinning items on Pinterest, all kinds of different crafts, trendy crafts, but nobody was making them. Nobody had a space where they could go and find all of the supplies and all of the tools, make the crafts that they wanted to, and then have the mess be left behind. And so that was the inspiration behind Pinspiration.
And then a light bulb went off that has been sparking creativity ever since.
Give kids the opportunity to create, to be imaginative, to have a place to play.
That's why Pinspiration, along with Wick and Spoon, wanted to host an event that will allow students to have a break from school but keep their imaginations going.
So if the parents can help the kids craft a little gift to bring to the teacher on the first day or maybe the first week, it really helps build that relationship that, you know, I care about you, I care about that you're going to be teaching me, teaching my child.
And who doesn't love a sweet treat? One of the latest baking trends is decorating sugar cookies, where you can essentially create anything you want.
Joining me is Anna Foster, and you're going to show us exactly how to decorate these cookies ahead of back to school, which could be a treat for our kiddos, but also for our teachers.
They can give them to their teachers, they can give them to their other friends. Moms and dads can give them to their kids.
Now listen close, because decorating cookies isn't as easy as you'd think.
So when you're cutting the icing bags, you want to make sure there's a seam right in the middle of your bag. So you want to make sure that the seam is on the top and flat. You want to pipe as close to the edge of the cookie and go all around the cookie. And if you hold it like above a little bit, not too close to the cookie, you actually have a little more control of your icing. And then you want to follow your piping line and fill in the whole cookie.
Once that was done, it was time for the stem.
You just kind of imagine where your stem would be, and you do the same process with the stem, outline it, and then try to get as close to your red as possible.
And don't worry, if you mess up like I did, there's an easy fix.
We have this nice little boo-boo stick, as they call it, that fixes a lot of stuff. You just take your boo-boo stick, and you wipe away where you had the brown.
Next step is adding your leaf.
And this icing is a little thicker so that it holds the leaf shape. You just take your icing, and I have a leaf tip, and then you just squeeze out the icing and make your leaf.
And for that bakery style finish, it's time to smooth it on out.
And then you use your little, your scribe, and you pop all the air bubbles.
And although my cookie didn't turn out quite like I expected, it tasted delicious. And don't worry, no experience is required. Beginners are welcome. The decorating workshop will allow students to design their own back-to-school batch of cookies, learning baking techniques like piping, flooding, and stenciling.
For more information on how you can take part in the Back to School Decorating Workshop, head over to our website, ktnv.com. Reporting Zora Asbury, 13 Action News.
The Neon Museum now receiving a new honor and being recognized as one of the best museums in the entire country. It's now accredited by the American Alliance of Museums. Less than 3% of museums in the U.S. receive the honor, and it's one of only 6 here in our state. This honor also allows new exhibitions and significant works of art from other institutes to be displayed there. More than 225,000 people visit the Neon Museum every single year.
Quite a distinction.
Get the best of Positively Las Vegas on your time. Download the KTNV 13 Action News app on your Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire TV streaming device. Visit ktnv.com/apps for more information. Welcome back to Positively Las Vegas. For more details on any of the stories you're watching today, just visit our website, ktnv.com/positivelylv. The area has alarmed Native Americans who consider the land sacred and environmentalists who view it as important to natural habitat. Others see it as land for recreation or development.
As 13 Action News reporter Bree Guy explains, some are now pushing to make this area a national monument to permanently protect the land.
Conservationists and Native Americans alike are fighting to protect these lands, not just for the devastating ecological and climatological impacts, but to help conserve these ancestral lands that are so important to the Native American tribes in the area. Small trees and green shrubs dot the desert landscape, living in the shadows of rugged peaks and towering rock. They form a mountain the Fort Mojave tribe calls a Vikwame, or Spirit Mountain.
There's a historical tie for all humans, and that should be respected.
The mountain serves as the point of creation for the Fort Mojave tribe and a cultural corridor for many surrounding tribes. They say future generations will learn about their history, culture, and significance in this protected space, but they worry about development destroying their connection and identity.
People understand the sacred nature of this area, but still developers are trying to develop this area. It's absurd.
They say they understand the importance of green energy, but don't believe this area is a good fit.
There's space for those, they just don't belong here in sacred areas for our tribal people.
We reached out to the company Aeolus that is proposing this wind farm project.
Wind farms they like to be both in valleys and in on mountains. It kind of depends on what they think is good for them.
Good locations have an annual average speed of 9 miles per hour for small wind turbines and 13 miles per hour for larger ones. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, higher elevations are generally more favorable for wind resources. Aeolus had no comment on the matter at this time. The National Parks Conservation Association can't fathom why this company has come back with a new proposal.
This current proposal is the same company that was rejected only 3 years ago, right? And we would have thought they would have learned the kind of lesson like, hey, this is not the place that you develop.
It's not just that this land is sacred for local tribes. Conservationists say this land has a rich ecosystem worthy of saving.
An important step to addressing the impact of climate change and the protection of biodiversity.
That protection would protect the natural springs, the ancient Joshua Tree Forest, rock art, and the habitat for the area's animals like the desert tortoise, bighorn sheep, and golden and bald eagles.
Have 1 foot in California and be within the national park, and have the other foot in Nevada and be in an area that could be filled with 700-foot wind turbines. But the wildlife don't know that, right? They move where they need to. People don't. They want to hike on the trail that moves between areas, and the cultural landscape, the spiritual landscape, doesn't recognize that type of boundary.
Recently, the Nevada Outdoor Business Coalition submitted a letter of support for the Avikwame National Monument. Outdoor recreation has increased dramatically over the past year, and the coalition says this will help with economic growth around the area.
Americans love their public lands. We view our lands as our natural heritage. We are home to some of the most visually stunning and biologically diverse and frankly culturally significant landscapes. And we're so thrilled that this might become one of the newest national monuments in our state.
We've shown throughout the state of Nevada and the West that it's possible to do all of these things together.
After this several-year-long fight, Native American tribes want this project to be a success.
It never makes sense to me because as Native people, we've had everything taken from us, and it's, we ask for these very small spaces and these things that are so important to our people to keep, and it seems like even that sometimes is impossible.
Support for the proposal is still gaining momentum with a big win recently from the Searchlight Town Advisory Board. Aeolus, on the other hand, said that they would reach out if anything changes. Reporting, I'm Brie Guy, 13 Action News.
Well, students aren't the only ones who need help with school supplies. Teachers do as well. And one local barbershop owner is showing he is positively Las Vegas by making sure they get what they need to educate the future of the Valley.
I was at the store a few years ago and saw my child's old teacher with a basket full of supplies. And I was like, wow, Clark County School District hooked you up. And she was like, no, this is out of my pocket. And I was like, what you mean? And she said, they do give us like a stipend of so much money, but those supplies be going in like a month. I ended up paying for that basket for her, the whole basket, right? And after that, I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna get the community involved in the next year, which is 2019. I said, I'm going to make sure I put it out there for folks to donate just towards our teachers, because there's a lot of school drives for kids, which is great, but I don't see anything for the teachers. Today, when I was shopping for the money we raised, there was a substitute teacher. This is her first year to be a substitute teacher. And she saw the filled up basket and she was like, oh, you're a teacher? And I explained to her what we were doing. And she was like, wow, it made her feel good. And she knew the Vegas. So she's like, I love that. We need that like Vegas strong for real. In 2 years ago, we raised about $1,200, which is great, right? This year, right to date, we have $2,260 that people donated. And 100% of the money, I spend 100% of the money on the supplies. And then I go around to different schools and issue all the supplies out. The $496 filled my car up, and I have about $1,700 left. So I'm calculating it's gonna be at least 3 more trips to me filling my car up so we can have all the supplies at once. I think people now have a bigger respect for our teachers and staff in general. So that's another reason I believe that people donated more money, because they know the need to help our teachers. If you know a great teacher, please send me their name and send me the school. If you can, let me know what grade they teach, if you can. But name and school, please send it to me, and I will try to get it to them.
And like you just heard, Robert Taylor says you can give him the names of the teachers by emailing him at newtwix@gmail.com. Remember, send him the teacher's name, the school where they teach, and if possible, the grade as well. Thanks for watching Positively Las Vegas on your favorite streaming device. If you missed any part of this week's program, just hit the back button on your remote, scroll down until you see Positively Las Vegas, and you'll find every story we aired in this episode. Stay tuned for more from 13 Action News after the break, and check us out anytime here on KTNV Streaming. Las Vegas News on your time.